Hello, and welcome to another edition of Need to Know, a series of video interviews with companies who are shaping the games industry of today. And today I'm delighted to be talking to Sally Ward from Whale and Dolphin Conservation, WDC. Hello, Sally. How are you getting on today?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me onto this.
Oh, delighted to have a chat with you. It's good to catch up. And our subject today, in fact, our theme, the name of our talk is why working with a charity is a win-win. And as I say, you work for the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Organisation. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then also about WDC.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sally. I am Digital Partnerships Manager at WDC. So Whale and Dolphin Conservation is the leading global charity dedicated to protecting whales and dolphins. We work across the globe to protect these amazing creatures from the many threats that they face, and that's things like deliberate harm to whales and dolphins, like captivity and hunting and whaling, which sadly still goes on today. But we also work to fight unintentional threats to whales and dolphins, and that's things like pollution, vessel strikes, accidental entanglement in fishing gear, and climate change. And we are aiming to create a world where every whale and dolphin is safe and free, because not only do these amazing, intelligent, sentient creatures deserve it, but we actually need them to help us fight the climate and biodiversity crises that we are facing today. Whales and dolphins are essentially like giant swimming trees with the way that they capture carbon, help fertilize the oceans, feed phytoplankton that generates half the oxygen we breathe. So they're really important, they're really amazing, and we are just working non-stop to try and protect these amazing creatures.
Well, now all I can see is a swimming tree. This is not an image I thought I'd get from today. I'm sure they're somewhat more graceful than that. I'll come back later and ask you where I should be spotting whales and dolphins in the UK. Although, you know, we're Ukie, we're a UK trade association in the games industry, but it'll be interesting to. I'm sure people will be interested to hear where they can go and spot them. Um, but yeah, we're talking about the why working with charity can be a win-win. So let's start at the start. Why should games companies in particular partner with charities, and what do each benefit from that relationship and that partnership?
Charity partnerships are a really great way for games companies to collaborate on all sorts of things like unique content, engaging with their communities, and just doing a great thing for a good cause. So, charities often have very highly engaged audiences and influential supporters, which can be a great opportunity for companies to increase their brand awareness. And these kinds of collaborations are also a really great way to create really wholesome and engaging content for both sides. So studies have actually shown that consumers can be more likely to purchase a product if they know it supports a charity, and they'll have a more positive image of that company because of this as well. So, as an example, WDC has been partnered with Relic Entertainment for a number of years now, and we are partnered on Company of Heroes 2, which is a bit of an odd match, as it were. But we actually have a DLC cosmetics pack with them that allows you to give your tanks a whale, dolphin, or orca pattern. And as you know, this is not a new game, it's been out for a long
Mm,
time, but
mm.
even the most recent month's donation statement from this pack, it's still really steady. And since its launch over 6, 7 years ago, this DLC has raised over £100,000 for $100,000, sorry, for WDC's conservation work. And that just kind of goes to show that people really like unique in-game content that they can collect or customize their gaming experience with, and knowing that it supports a charity is a win-win situation for the player and also for the charity and for that company as well. So it's just kind of a fun way to add extra content to your game, but also for telling a nice story or supporting a good charity like that. And from the kind of charity side of things, obviously, like for companies, it's a great way to get in front of a new audience, and of course raise vital funds for their work. But it's also a really amazing way to engage with a group of creative and passionate people, the company employees. So through my experience working at WDC, I have found that games companies the people who work there tend to be the most kind of passionate and interesting and creative and genuinely kind of want to help kind of people.
Mm.
And so we've actually at WDC have done a lot of engagement with our games company partners to help inspire the staff, to make them inspire them about the cause and make them feel a part of something by being in this partnership. So we often would visit our partners at their offices and run what we call an urban beach clean, essentially a litter pick. So we'll bring all the equipment to the office, we'll do a talk to the team about WDC and how they've helped make an impact on our work. And then we would either go around where their office is or in the city where they're based, and do a litter pick and just engage with the staff, have that one-on-one, engagement, and speak to them, find out why they're interested in our cause, see if, get them to learn something new about plastic pollution, for example, because we're doing a litter pick. And it's just been a really great addition to our partners, is actually meeting the people behind the face of the company and getting them engaged as well, because that's really important for us.
I can see the value of that engagement. That must be quite rewarding as well, when you're meeting an organization and really getting them on board. Now, if we look at some, and you've referenced a couple of sort of examples there, which is fascinating. So I want to dive a little bit more into the kinds of collaborations that have worked. So have you got any sort of good examples, things you want to share with us, both from a company and a charity perspective?
Yeah, definitely. So speaking purely from WDC's experience, we have found that the best kinds of collaborations are ones that benefit both partners. So it's a real even collaboration between the two businesses. So, a collaboration that can help generate sales and donations for the sales for the company, donations for the charity, that boost visibility for both sides. That's kind of the perfect balance, really. So we've done all sorts of things at WDC with games companies, from Steam sales, DLC collaborations, certain kinds of in-game content, partnerships on a whole game, and even one-off events in a game, or physical events like sponsoring an event at Develop Brighton, for example. These are really great ways to achieve this, and all of them kind of help create really engaging content to then give back to those communities, so the games companies, audience, community, customers, the charities, community supporters, to see these two businesses getting together for the same cause. So one example I can give is every June for the last couple of years, we've run a big World Oceans Day Steam sale.
Right.
So the 8th of June every year is World Oceans Day. So we've chosen that day as kind of a big day for games to come together and celebrate the ocean. So we collaborated with Valve, and with a great help from Curve Games, who kind of on a voluntary basis helped us kind of curate the sale page itself. We put together a World Oceans Day Steam sale event where each developer pledged a percentage of their net revenue, which we let each developer choose that percentage to suit their own business models, and then all had a discount applied to their game as well. And we had over 100 games in the sale this year, which was amazing. And we are still waiting to find out what that total is because of the way that Valve pays out. But hopefully, if you keep an eye out on our socials over the next month or so, you'll find out kind of how much of an impact that had. But we're really excited to see what this is going to do. But it's been really amazing. Some of the feedback we've had from the developers, we've had big publishers, small developers, like indie one-man band type developers. So one really small game we had join the sale, their first time joining a sale like this, they were really excited to support our cause. And they said to me that on average, they normally have 1 or 2 people playing their game each week. But during the time of our sale, they had 300 players, which is an amazing increase when you think about that kind of difference. So, we were really happy with that, because it meant that we helped bring their game to a bigger audience. People were seeing their game and it was making an impact for them as well. And obviously they pledged a percentage of their net revenue and gave us a donation in return. So that's kind of that benefiting both partners, that balance of helping each other, I think is really important. And then one thing that's quite unique for WDC is, or any organisation like WDC, being a environmental and conservation charity, is that we could help companies achieve their sustainability objectives as well. So like I said earlier about giant swimming trees, the way that whales can capture carbon, helping us repopulate the seas with whales is as important as planting trees or recovering bee populations, so we can help with sustainability objectives as well, which is quite an additional kind of perk to a partnership with a charity.
Yeah, that's a brilliant angle. We're seeing a lot of games companies in particular heading towards that particular space and looking for sustainability and related projects. So yeah, really interesting. Great to hear about that. I suppose that leads nicely on to a slightly more challenging question potentially. So there are a lot of charities out there, and they're all quite rightly looking at sectors like the games industry as a potential partnership opportunity, given the games is growing and expanding and the audience that we have. It can be difficult, I guess, for a games company to decide on which charitable partner they're going to work with. So if you've got any advice or guidance on how a company can make that decision, what are the things they should be looking at?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think a key thing is finding a charity or a cause that really resonates with the company, the staff of that company, their customers and communities, so that it kind of makes sense and you can genuinely talk about that cause and why you're supporting it. So you could do like a staff or a customer survey to better understand what causes they support, so you can better engage with them. And I think making sure that you can tell that story in the right way is really important. So having that genuine connection to the cause is I think vital. I think also choosing a charity that understands the games community and the games world itself, it's almost its own culture. Games, people who play games, people who stream games, people who make games. It is a very unique area of business and play, essentially. So I think finding a charity that can help talk the talk, as it were, when it comes to games, I think is important, because then that just makes it a more smooth collaboration in terms of how you work together, how you communicate together, how you both kind of have that open face with talking to both the charity's community and the company's community about what it is that you're doing together. It just makes it feel more natural, I think. So an example of that is how very recently WDC has launched a dedicated games initiative called Games for Waves. So we've got our own website, Twitter account and a Discord server, all dedicated to how games and WDC work together. So it's a space to celebrate how games are supporting us, to talk about how WDC is working with certain games partners, or putting on like streaming events, or getting involved in all sorts of different things, anything related to games. We have now that dedicated space where we can talk freely about games and passionately about games, because I do play games and I want to talk about it all the time. But obviously with our main charity account, socials, we have to be mindful and not talk all about games when we have to talk about other important things for the charity. So having that dedicated space, we've really made a point to give that to our games partners and our games community.
I mean, that goes back to authenticity, doesn't it? Making understanding the audience and talking with the right tone of voice. That sounds brilliant, that initiative, and we'll put a link up at the end to that web page so that people can go and check it out, and other charities might want to check it out and see sort of best practice in that. So I suppose just to end then, if we talk about sort of best practice, golden rules, do you want to summarize for us what are the golden rules for maximizing a relationship with a charity partner, do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, as mentioned before, these collaborations, they need to be a two-way street. It needs to be a partnership where each side is benefiting as much as the other. So working together to understand each other's needs and objectives to see how you can help achieve those. So for example, if the company has sustainability goals, are you able to help them meet that? Or EDI objectives, so are you a kind of cause that could help with that type of initiative? Or if you're looking for access to a certain type of influencer, there's loads of different things that each side can bring to the table. So I think it's about understanding what they are and just making sure that you are able to support each other in those needs. There's so many things that can be done in a charity partnership, and I think it's just striking that right balance to ensure that it is helping both sides.
Lovely. That's a brilliant conclusion. Now, I did want to come back to where should I be going to see whales and dolphins around the UK? Have you got some favourite locations where you go to?
Yeah, there's actually quite a lot. You'll be surprised how many species there are of whales and dolphins around the UK. You know, we have so many. We've got harbour porpoise, common dolphin, bottlenose dolphin, even orca come to our shores. So one really amazing place that you can go to is actually up in Scotland. So just along the coast from Inverness, there's this lovely place called Spey Bay, and we actually have a visitor centre up there. It's called the Scottish Dolphin Centre. It's in a beautiful location right on the beach, and you can literally stand on the pebbles, and just a few metres out from the shore, there are wild bottlenose dolphins just there. There's a whole population that live up there, and it's incredible to just see them in their natural habitat. But you can see orcas up there, humpbacks and minkies also come there as well. If you go further north to the Orkneys, that's definitely orca sea up there. And even down in the south in Cornwall, you can see similar species of whales and dolphins, and around Wales as well. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Scotland is a good place to go if you want kind of more of a destination.
This is a who's who of tourist destinations for people as well. So if you're out there, make sure you're taking the opportunity to go check out those whales and dolphins. Sally, thank you so much for joining us today and being really insightful about the way that games companies can work with a charity to make it a win-win for both organisations. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.